Welcome back to Kearsarge Valley Magazine. I have been having a great time chatting with Don Wright over the last several weeks. And Don, we've sort of come to the tail end of your Air Force career. Last week we talked about some amazing stories you have from flying the U-2 plane. But after that, you transitioned to American Airlines.
I did.
Was that a rewarding career after the Air Force for you?
It was very rewarding. I thought I had the best of both worlds. My Air Force life was the adventure of a lifetime. American Airlines was the best airline and still is.
My brother, the Delta pilot, would disagree.
He probably would disagree. But it was such a fair organization, and so many superior people were flying for them at the time. It was mostly military pilots, although there were many, many civilian pilots, and they do just fine. Mm-hmm. But the thing I liked it's almost militaristic in its opportunities because you actually operate in a seniority system. But if you wish to do other things, if you want to be a chief pilot or an instructor, you can operate out of that. You make a little bit more money, and you can always come back into the seniority system. Mm. There's never any debate as to what you want to fly, or what route you want to fly, or what times you want to fly, because they lay it all out in front of you, and you so-called bid for a complete month of flying. So what you got is what you want.
Which is great.
Well, it's fair, except if you're the bottom guy.
True.
Which we go through cycles of that, because when you go from one airplane to another, you usually go to the bottom. And when you went, in my case, from flight engineer to co-pilot to captain, you keep falling to the bottom of the list.
Right.
But
going from the U-2 plane to a regular 757, did it seem mundane to you?
No, it really didn't. It's funny. I loved flying military airplanes. And if I wanted to, I could have stayed in the reserve and flown some more. But with our three little guys, we felt that our hands were absolutely full.
Yeah.
And flying with the airlines it's a wonderful job, but it's a tough job. You're gone half the time. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of studying. It's just like the Air Force. You always have got to be up. You've got the FAA always ready to jump in the cockpit and look you over. You've got the company. They're not harsh and tyrannical, but they're fair.
Right.
But you are under the gun. And it's just a very good job. And if you get tired of one airplane, move to another airplane.
Tell me how you ended up retiring up here.
I was flying with Captain Clark Collins, who lives in Rowell Hill in New London.
Oh.
And he was a more senior pilot. He was a World War II pilot. And we were sitting in the holding pattern over New York City. And I was living on Cape Cod. I was not happy. My wife was not happy. My children really were miserable. The school was outrageously bad. I called it harsh and tyrannical. And I was moaning in the cockpit. And Clark said to me, he said, you know, you ought to go to New Hampshire. He says, there's no taxes. They have a fair government. And he says, I've lived there off and on all my life. He said, I'll give you 3 places to go. And he says, no, go to New London. You will like it. We came to town, and it's a little longer story than this, but Peggy Chatelier, who was a realtor here in town, took me under her wing, gave us the tour of the town. We went and talked to all the schools, and Polly and I did. And at the end of the day, when the sun went down, she parked her car in this field and said, this is my land, and I want to sell it to you. I bought it on the spot. Oh. And a month later, we were desperate for a place. I opened up the Wall Street Journal, and they had a home what do they call them, where they just truck them in.
Oh, like a mobile home or
mobile, it was
prefab?
Prefab.
Okay.
And it came up here on an 18-wheeler, and it was in slabs of 10 by 10s, and 2 days later the house was built, and and here I got this gorgeous place in the middle of a snowbank, and lots of light and a great view, and we've lived here happily ever after.
That's amazing. Amazing story. I am so thankful that you were willing to take the time to share your life story with us. And I do really encourage you all to get Don's book, Life is a Piece of Cake. You can get it at Morgan Hill Bookstore and another bookstore.
You can get it at Gibson's in Concord, and I hope to have it other places, but I do have a website, and it's CaptainDonWright, one word, .com.
And that's Wright with a W.
With a W.
And they can order right from the website.
They can indeed.
Well, it's an amazing story, and it's been a great honor to know you.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for being with us.